Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على نبيه ومصطفى سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. Dear viewers everywhere, welcome to a new episode of Ask Huda. Our phone numbers beginning with the area code are 002-023855, 248 or 249. And the email addresses are ask@huda.tv and gardens@huda.tv. My Facebook page is Dr. Muhammad Salah Official. Without any further ado, I have a few email questions to answer. I don't think we have any pending, alhamdulillah, shukrullah. Brother Muhammad from Oman. Muhammad says, is lying a major sin? First of all, what is a major sin and a minor sin? A major sin, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala threatened the person who would indulge in that sin with a very severe punishment in the life of this world and in the hereafter, or in either one. Or it has a set punishment. So whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accompanied any sin with the la'n, al-la'n is to be cursed, that's a major sin. Anger, غضب الله عليه ولعنه. The anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that means a sin which led to that, is a major sin. A sin which requires or incurs a punishment that is set by the Sharia in the life of this world, such as insulting chaste women, false accusing innocent people, stealing, adultery, drinking. All those sins are major sins. With regards to lying, that there are certain types of lies which all the scholars are on an agreement that, and are of the view that this is definitely a major sin, such as giving a false testimony, like in a court before the judge, or whenever you're asked to deliver a shahada, the testimony. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَقِيمُوا الشَّهَادَةَ لِلَّهِ. You must give the shahada, the testimony, properly for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have to be honest when you deliver the shahada. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, أَلَا أُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِأَكْبَرِ الْكَبَائِرِ. Shall I not inform you about the biggest of the major sins? So it's like even degrees. He said, certainly, O Prophet of Allah. He said, number one, to set partners to Allah in worship. Number two is to be rude and ungrateful to your parents. Number three, he said, أَلَا وَقَوْلِ الزُّورِ. And indeed, giving a false testimony, false shahada. Then the Prophet ﷺ was reclining. He sat up and he said, أَلَا وَشَهَادَةِ الزُّورِ. He expressed about it in a different term, but it means the same. Then he said the third time, أَلَا وَقَوْلِ الزُّورِ. And the thing is, he kept repeating this warning until the narrator of the hadith, which is Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him, said, حَتَّى قُلْنَا لَيْتَهُ سَكَتْ. We wish that he would be quiet, he would not say any further more أَلَا وَقَوْلِ الزُّورِ, because they had mercy on the Prophet ﷺ. He was very, very serious as he was repeating this warning over and over and over. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Akbar from the UK. Assalamu alaikum, Akbar.
Wa alaikum assalam, Sheikh.
Naam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa
How are you,
rahmatullahi wa
Sheikh? Okay?
barakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Welcome to Ask Huda, Habib.
Brother, I've got 3 questions for you. My first question is, I wanted to find out, is it permissible to play cards with family for fun, not gambling, just for 1-2 hours, just mom, sisters and stuff? And my second question is regarding lowering your gaze. I understand we should lower our gaze when we see a lady which is not Islamically covered, but regarding watching TV, for example, in American movies and stuff, is that permissible to watch or not?
Okay.
And my third question is this, brother. I have a fiancée, and for a long time I'm telling her regarding wearing a hijab, she doesn't wear it. And I give her all the proofs, like cruise from the Quran, like show her the Islamic talks and stuff. And she still doesn't want to wear it. She's like, I don't want to wear it. I'm not ready at the moment. And she's like, if I wear it, it's like you forcing me. I'm going to be wearing it for you, not for Allah. So I just want to find out what can I do for her in order to please her to wear hijab for sake of Allah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, brother Akbar from the UK. Barakallah fikum. I'd like to continue where I started first with regards to the different types of lying and which one is a major sin, and there is a general consensus in this regard. So we said giving a false testimony, and the second is swearing to Allah while lying knowingly. There are three types of oath. There is yaminun munaqida and yaminun lagw and yaminun ghamus. The oath means yamin. And munaqada is to swear to Allah to do or not to do in the future. So if you fulfill it, fine. Otherwise, there is a penalty or there is a ransom, as we stated before in Surah Al-Ma'idah. Al-Yamin al-Ghamus does not have any penalty, and it means swearing to Allah while lying knowingly with regards to something that happened or it did not happen in the past. Like you say, by Allah, I did not see this person. And you actually saw him and you met him. And you remember that. By Allah, I did not do this or that. And you know that and you remember you did it. So swearing to Allah, lying, is called ghamus. In Arabic, the word ghamus is to immerse. When people actually eat with the bread from the plate, you know, like the keema or whatever, this is called ghamus because you immerse the bread in the food in order to be able to eat. So in this case, ghamus is the person who be immersed in this major sin in the life of this world, in addition to this oath, which he swore lying deliberately, will cause him to be immersed in the fire of hell, and it has no ransom. Why? Because he can't play games with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this type of lying is of the worst type of lying. Lying in general is haram and forbidden, but it has degrees. Similar to shirk, has degrees as well. With regards to those who are in the market day and night, the other day I just went to shop around in the market, the fruit and the vegetable market, and I saw people were swearing and cursing and swearing to something very odd. You know, normally, as the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man kana halifan falyahlif billahi aw liyasmut." If you are ready to take an oath, then it should be in the name of Allah or any of His names, or be quiet. But people actually make a very strange type of oath. They say, "I swear to divorcing my wife." Yani, it means if I'm not telling the truth, my wife is divorced. So in the same sitting or standing, which is only a few minutes, he had divorced his wife several times. Why? To confirm to the buyer, for instance, this merchandise, these goods or the fruits or the vegetables, you know, really worth that much or even more. Or he bought it with a higher price and he's losing in this commodity or whatever. So the Prophet ﷺ said, ثَلَاثَةٌ لَا يُكَلِّمُهُمُ اللَّهُ وَلَا يُزَكِّيهِمْ وَلَا يَنظُرُ إِلَيْهِمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. One of them is الْمُنْفِقُ سِلْعَتَهُ بِالْحَلِفِ الْكَاذِبِ. That's a very serious hadith. Hadith is collected by Imam Muslim. There are three types of people whom Allah would not look at them, would not speak to them. He will curse them, and they would not have mercy on the Day of Judgment. And for them is a very painful and severe torment. Who are they? The narrator said, لَقَدْ خَابُوا وَخَسِرُوا. Abu Dharr al-Ghifari said, indeed they are the greatest losers, O Prophet of Allah. Who are they? So he mentioned one of them is the one who markets his goods or commodities via lying. As I said, he says, Wallahi, I bought it for 100 and I'm selling it for 80 because I need the cash. And he's lying, and he knows that he's making a profit. Or even if he bought it for 90, it's not exactly as he said. Changing the fact and swearing to falsehood, lying, is a major sin which leads a person to hell, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. Similarly, lying and ascribing yourself to a family lineage which is not yours. A lot of people, in order to have people sympathize with them and love them, revere and respect them, they say, I'm a Sayyid, I'm a Sayyid, I belong to the family of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you're not, that's a lie. I was just kidding. That's a lie. Lying in the family lineage is a major sin. And believe it or not, lying in narrating the night vision. Like somebody says, I saw a dream yesterday, and he keeps saying whatever. And by the end, it was all made up. He made it up. Okay? That's a major sin as well. Lying, again, is the Prophet ﷺ by ascribing something to him, a statement, and saying, قَالَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم, and he did not say it. The Prophet ﷺ said in this regard, مَنْ كَذَبَ عَلَيَّ مُتَعَمِّدًا فَلْيَتَبَوَّأْ مَقْعَدَهُ مِنَ النَّارِ. Whoever fabricates a lie and ascribes it to me as it is one of my statements, then let him expect his seat in the fire of hell. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now, brother Ashfaq from the KSA. Assalamu alaikum, Ashfaq.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. How are you, Sheikh?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah. Barakallah feek.
I love you for the sake of Allah.
أحبك الذي أحببتني فيه. Thank you so much, brother Ashfaq. Barakallah feek.
Sheikh, I have 3 questions, inshallah.
Now.
My first question, did Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam prayed witr at Muzdalifah? And my second question is, eating something which has been prepared by non-Muslims, I do only prepared, even if it's vegetarian, other than the Jews and Christians, can we eat this one?
Okay.
Now my third question is, suppose if I missed 4 rakat Zuhar, can I pray it later?
You're talking about the Sunnah of Zuhr, right?
The Sunnah, yeah, Sunnah of the 4 rakat Zuhar.
Okay.
Before Zuhar. Suppose if I missed it, last time I just missed it, but I started praying, but I forget it. Can I pray it now for this?
Okay.
Can I make it?
Okay. Barakallah fi. Okay. Barakallah fi. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Faiza from Yemen. Sister Faisal, I'm sorry. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, Sheikh Saleh?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah. Thank you for asking, Sister Faisal.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Allah yahfadak wa atik al-afiyah. I want to ask you a question.
I mean, sure, go ahead.
I want to ask you, what is Shia and who are these Shias, please?
What is the question again?
Huh?
Sister Faisal, can you repeat your question?
I want to ask you, what is Shia and who are these Shias?
Shia, okay. I promised yesterday, inshallah, I will record or I film a whole episode about the Shia and their different sects, inshallah. Sister Faisal, remind me with the Yemeni brothers and sisters in New York, when they mix the Arabic and the English. Thank you, Faisal. Inshallah, I will announce this episode and it will be uploaded, inshallah, on my page as well. Thank you. But I can brief you briefly, inshallah, in this episode. Okay. Brother Akbar from the UK. With regards to playing cards, if you're playing cards, and as you say that it is for fun and is not distracting you from any duty in your leisure time, and it is not for a long time, it does not distract you from offering the prayer on time, you're not gambling, you're not playing with dice, then it is permissible. Because all the other additives would make it not permissible. Okay? With regards to lowering your gaze, even watching the TV programs, yes, you should. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغُضُّوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ, what is the purpose? وَيَحْفَظُوا فُرُوجَهُمْ, in order to guard your chastity. So lowering the gaze from the beauty of a woman who's not lawful to you, whether you see her on the screen, in the news, in a program, or on a magazine cover, or in reality. With regards to your fiancé, whom you're trying to convince to wear hijab, and she does not want to wear hijab. You may not like my opinion, but, and I'm saying this out loud, I know that a lot of people would be listening to me. In the first place, I would not actually propose to a woman who's not wearing hijab. It's as simple as that. Because, one hand cannot clap. And in order to build a family, you need somebody who would really, really assist you in establishing a Muslim family. Before I got married, and when I consulted my shuyukh, I always put in front of my eyes, what if I die tomorrow and I leave behind a few kids? Who's going to look after them? It must be a righteous woman. It must be a woman who loves Allah and she has a mission. And a woman who has a mission, she grew up like that. She was educated and she's religiously committed. Hijab is one thing. It is not everything, but it reflects the woman's keenness to be obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The woman is not careless when it comes to the orders, the commands and obligations of Allah. The command is coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when she furthermore says that, well, if I wear it, I will be only wearing it for you, that's even worse. Yani, would you wear it for a human being and not wear it for the one who created your beloved human being? Your fiancé, your husband, your lover? You know, we really need to understand the kind of relationship that it should be between us and our Creator. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what suits us best. And whenever He orders anything, it is for our own benefit, even if we do not get it for now. And for other things, they are just means of test. And life in general is a test. تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. Why did Allah create death and life? Simply in order to test all of you. Which one of you is best indeed? So choosing a wife will be فاظفر بذات الدين تربت يداك. Make sure that of all the qualities and the traits that your wife has, she is religiously committed. This is number one. This is very important. Barakallahu feek. The third question, we answer his three questions. Brother Ashfaq from the KSA, did the Prophet ﷺ pray the witr in Muzdalifah? Yes, he did pray the witr in Muzdalifah, and he did not pray any night prayer or tahajjud afterward. He rested until Fajr. The dhabiha of the people who are not Ahlul Kitab, non-Muslims, and they are not Jews nor Christians. It is not permissible to eat their dhabiha, period. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا مِمَّا لَمْ يُذْكَرِ اسْمُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ وَإِنَّهُ لَفِسْقٌ. You should not eat from the meat or the cattle which was slaughtered, but without mentioning the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in general. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala في سورة المائدة said, وطعام الذين أوتوا الكتاب حل لكم وطعامكم حل لهم, which means He exempt from all non-Muslims and non-believers one category of two subcategories, the Jews and Christians who belong to the people of the book. If they slaughter their animals properly, slaying the neck and shedding the blood of the animal, which is lawful for us to consume its meat in the first place, then it is permissible to eat from this dhabiha. It's called dhabiha because of the process of the sacrifice. Brother Muhammad from the KSA, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa
I just
barakatuh.
want to your advice.
Now,
During the prayer, usually my mind wander here and there, and how to concentrate, and any idea, any du'as, anything is there.
طيب.
This is my first question. Second question, I have seen your advices for the hijab. Sometimes I feel it, the people suddenly wake up and then started to insist the daughters or sisters to wear hijab. How far it is correct? Let them explain this.
that's a very smart question,
properly,
Brother
and
Muhammad.
then do it.
Brother Muhammad, that's a very smart question. Barakallah feek.
Thank you.
Thank you. But we need to understand that Brother Akbar from the UK, his question is different. He is about to get married to a girl who grew up this way. And wearing hijab is a symbol. It reflects what kind of life, what kind of education, what kind of adab that the parents have been instructing and inspiring their children with. This is a very important sign. You know, it's a major sign to determine whether the person is religiously committed or not. No disagreement whatsoever that somebody would say, but there are a lot of women who are wearing hijab and they are not good. And there are a lot of women who are not wearing hijab, but they are good and kind. I agree. But what determines all of that by the end is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is hijab something important? It is. How important it is? For women, the hijab is as important as praying. Really? Yes, because it has been ordained by Allah in His Quran. So it is a fard. It is indeed a fard. Why am I breaking it down and making it very easy? Because I know that a lot of people, especially from the Indo-Pak background, under the impression that hijab is optional or hijab is only for Arab women, as I have heard that from many Indo-Pak women. They didn't know. So now I'm making it easy and I'm saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to His most beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Surah Al-Ahzab, يا أيها النبي قل لأزواجك وبناتك ونساء المؤمنين يدنين عليهن من جلابيبهن ذلك أدنى أن يعرفن فلا يؤذين. Ayah number 59 of Surah Al-Ahzab for your reference. So the command is coming from Allah to the Prophet ﷺ to pass it on to whom? أزواجك, your spouses, وبناتك, and your daughters, Fatima wa Zainab, and so on. وَنِسَاءِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. I heard many times people say that the hijab was only in the past because they lived in the desert, they didn't have doors to their houses and the windows, or only for the wives of the Prophet ﷺ. Here is the ayah, it is very clear. The ayah says what? وَنِسَاءِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, and all the women of the Muslim ummah. ذَلِكَ أَدَنَا أَن يُعْرَفْنَ فَلَا يُؤْذَيْنَ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. Then, to be explained in details, how to wear hijab for women, ayah number 31 of Surah An-Nur. Okay. In the Sunnah, the Prophet ﷺ said there are two types of people. I haven't seen them yet, but they shall come in the future. من أهل النار. من أهل النار. أهل النار means that the dwellers of fire. They reside, their residence will be النار, the fire of hell, والعياذ بالله. One of these two types is women whom the Prophet ﷺ described as كاسيات عاريات. They think that they are dressed up, but they are not. They are wearing very short and very revealing clothes and very tight or see-through. They are not wearing hijab properly. And subhanallah, رؤوسهن كأسنمة البخت. It's like the Prophet ﷺ is living with us today. He describes the hairstyle, what the stylists do to women, and you see them even in the holy places wearing the aba'ah, and their head is like the hump of a camel. This is how the Prophet ﷺ described them. رؤوسهن كأسنمة البخت. They make the hair in a style which would look like a hump of a camel. لا يدخلن الجنة ولا يجدن ريحها. They shall not enter paradise, nor shall they find its fragrance. I want my wife to be with me in heaven. I want my children and my family to be with me in heaven. Will I be responsible for my wife's misbehavior? Yes, you will. Number 6 in Surah Al-Tahrim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا وقودها الناس والحجارة عليها ملائكة غلاظ شداد لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. So it's not only yourself, your wife, your children, your younger sisters and brothers. You're a family father, that's your responsibility. You will be liable and you will be responsible before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all of that. كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته. How lovely it is to discuss that where we would like to be in heaven, you and your wife, you and your spouse, and keep talking about heaven and where we can meet and so on. Imagine this beautiful conversation between two companions, a couple, Abu Darda and Darda, may Allah be pleased with them. They heard, or Abu Darda heard the Prophet ﷺ in a hadith says that المرأة لآخر أزواجها في الجنة. The woman would marry her last husband in this life, would marry him in paradise. He will be her husband in paradise. What do you understand from this? Well, we understand that if the same woman happened to have multiple marriages, one died, one divorced her, then, alhamdulillah, this woman was righteous and she made it to heaven. And all the ex-husbands made it to heaven as well. Which one will be her husband in Al-Jannah? Because no one will be a bachelor in heaven. No one would be single and unmarried in heaven. Men and women, everyone. Which husband or ex-husband will be her husband in paradise? آخر أزواجها. The one whom she was married to the last, before her death. So imagine how these two companions, this couple, reflected on the hadith. So they made a promise. They promised each other that if Abu Darda were to die first, that Darda would never marry afterward. Why? Because she loved him so much, she wanted to be with him in heaven. And eventually he died before her. And she survived him several years, to the point that she lived during the Khilafah of Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. Muawiyah became the Khalifa, and he proposed to Darda, a great lady companion. What did she say? She said, Ya Muawiyah, misluka la yurad. This is a very kind and an honor for me. This is a wonderful proposal. But I had promised Abu Darda to be his wife in paradise. This is what we need to discuss. Not to struggle from the beginning that, if I'm going to do this, I'll be doing this only for you. No, I want you to do it for Allah. You and I, we want to enter paradise safely. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Huda from Libya.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I want to ask some question, please.
Naam, go ahead.
When I pray istikhara for somebody coming for asking for engagement with me, I want to know, I will waiting for my feeling about this man is good feeling or I have bad feeling, or I am agree on this man and I am waiting what happened after istikhara.
Okay.
You understand my question?
Sister Huda, do you have an access to the internet?
What?
Do you have an access to the internet? Do you go to Facebook or Twitter or any of these social websites?
No, your sound, please, Sheikh. I can't hear you.
Okay. طيب. I got it. Thank you, Sister Huda.
I am asking about istikhara. I am asking about istikhara.
I got your question. I got your question. Inshallah, I will answer you. Barakallahu fiki. Making up the 4 rak'ahs of Sunnatul Dhuhr. The hadith of Habiba stated that the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever observes 12 rak'ahs on daily basis, on regular basis, Allah will build him a house in paradise. And those 12 rak'ahs are 4 before Dhuhr, 2 after Dhuhr. And you can switch, either 2 before or 4 after, and actually can pray 4 before and 4 after, and 2 after Maghrib, 2 after Isha, and 2 before Fajr. Okay. So the brother said, if I miss the 4 rak'ahs of Dhuhr, whether the 4 rak'ahs before or the 4 rak'ahs after, even if it is after Asr, may I make them up? There is one hadith narrated by Salama, may Allah be pleased with her, another wife and a mother of the believers. She said that she have witnessed the Prophet ﷺ praying after Asr. So she questioned him, O Prophet of Allah, didn't you forbid us from praying between Asr and Maghrib any nawafil? He said, yes indeed, but these are the rak'ahs, or the 2 rak'ahs, the sunnah of Dhuhr. I got extremely busy and I forgot about them, so I was making them up. Okay? Barakallah fiqh. طيب, let's take a short break and inshallah we'll be back in a few minutes. Stay tuned.
imagine that the Anbiya, they were the ones, they were the most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they had the hardest lives.
He assumed that he had some kind of superiority and he was a better, more chosen, a better person because he had this wealth. And then you look at all the other people who had wealth, and some of them were the worst people. You had Fir'aun and
reviving your niyyah time and again, that you're doing insincerely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Most of the youth, they think, oh, I'm going to pray when I'm old, it's okay now, I'll have fun in my life. Later on I'll work, I'll go on my bed, I'll pray 5 times a day. And all these things, they think that's later on in their life, and they don't know when they will die.
Amira, who's your role model?
Khadija radiallahu anha.
And why?
Because she was Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's wife, and she was the first lady to believe in Islam.
We can't just take knowledge and keep it as information. We have to transfer it into action. When he got up, he said one thing. Asalla nas? Did the people pray? In Hajj, for example, the primary example of how multiculturalism really looks like. All equal. I've got a dentist in Canada. Even though he's ripping holes in my teeth, he's got great akhlaq. I love visiting him. Identify the issue. Analyze it. Challenge it. And then try again. Because if you fail, big deal. Try again and keep trying.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Brother Muhammad from the KSA has 2 important questions. The first that everybody is facing, which is, lack of khushu' in the salah, concentration. Whatever you call it, concentration, contemplation, serenity, tranquility, it's one word, which is al-khushu'. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala admired the believers. And the first trait that He admired them with in Surah Al-Mu'minun, He said, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ, which means successful indeed are the believers. Number 1 trait of theirs, الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ, those who acquire and maintain khushu' in the salah, in their prayers. يعني, concentration, yes. Tranquility, serenity, to focus on your prayer and not to wander around, to pray properly, all of that. These are all the components of al-khushu' in the prayer. I find a very beautiful and a beneficial advice that the Prophet ﷺ paid to one of his companions is actually the greatest mean that would help in acquiring khushu' in the salah. When the Prophet ﷺ said to one of his companions, صَلِّ كَأَنَّكَ مُوَدَّعٌ. The reason why we lose our khushu' in the salah, because we offer the prayer as some sort of rituals. Like we make wudu like machines, then go and offer the prayer, and by that we think that we're done, alhamdulillah, shukrillah. But this advice was very unique. He said, pray and treat this prayer as if it is going to be your last prayer. What are you going to do if this is going to be your last prayer? Most definitely you're not going to be thinking about any worldly thing, business, children, school, car, investment, house. You're not going to be thinking about anything else, because you're told, or you know for sure, that once you offer this prayer, you will expire. So what will benefit you most is this prayer. And the first question the person will be asked about on the Day of Judgment is concerning as-salah. And if it was done properly, then all the rest of his deeds will be fine and will be accepted. فإذا صلحت صلح سائر عمله. If he was upright, then the rest of his deeds will be upright. So this is one advice. On my page, I put a link for a beautiful book that I believe it's like 33 reasons how to acquire khushu' in the salah by Dr. Muhammad Salih al-Munajjid. It's an amazing book. But the advice which I found beneficial most is what I mentioned earlier. In addition to what you do before the prayer would reflect on your khushu' in the prayer. The heart is a vessel, is a container. You filled it with goodness. When you enter the salah, you will enjoy it. You filled it with filth. Somebody was dealing with haram, watching haram, talking about haram. Then he says, Allahu Akbar. No, you will not find your heart. Your heart is not there. Your heart is immersed in the ma'asi which you started before the prayer. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Hashir from Bahrain.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you doing today?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah, barakallahu feek.
Sheikh, I want to ask, we have a Sheikh over here in our country, and like mashallah, he's a well-known Sheikh. So he was saying that Qiyam al-Layl in Ramadan, which is like after Taraweeh, which we pray, that's not from Sunnah. So what's the authenticity of this Qiyam al-Layl?
Okay.
Even in Haram, of course, we have Qiyam al-Layl after, Taraweeh.
طيب.
Yeah,
Barakallah feek. Naam.
Jazakallah khair.
Wa jazakum. Thank you, Brother Hashir from Bahrain. Brother Muhammad from the KSA, his second most important question, which is, like if somebody, a family, were not really practicing, then the parents, or one of them, particularly the father, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have rightly guided him. So he started praying on a regular basis, and he realized that he was lacking behind in the past. His wife is not, behaving with Allah. His daughters are not wearing hijab. His sons are not praying. It's a mess. The whole life was distant from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what they do is they want to change everything overnight. They want to switch the button on and off. Now they want to quit all the bad and they start all the good, and they mandate all the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be fulfilled overnight. And this is where they come into a very big conflict with their offspring, with their spouses. Why? Let me share with you this. I have seen many things like that. And I sat with a teenager in America. She was approximately 16 years old. And now the parents asked me, talk to her about hijab, talk to her about this and this and that, because she was wearing very revealing clothes. So when I sat and I talked to her, and she shocked me with the fact, she said, Uncle, before you moved to town, my mother was not wearing hijab, my father was such and such, and we were very secular, we were not practicing the deen. Then, for some reason, Allah guided them. Now they want to switch us like them overnight. I'm not going to do that. And I'm not willing to do that. I was very convinced with her approach, with her reasoning, because this is not going to happen. So we have to find a mechanism. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, كَذَلِكَ كُنْتُم مِّن قَبْلُ فَمَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكُمْ. Imagine there was somebody whom I invited to come to the masjid, and he would never set a foot in the masjid, an Arab. There are a lot of people like that. Some people have never prayed for decades. Then, subhanallah, with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and some da'wah effort, they started praying and they started coming to the masjid and so on. But they realized that they were lacking behind and they missed a lot. So they want to fix everything with their family members, with their non-Muslim wives, with their American wives, with their daughters. So they come to fix, they break and they lose everything. No, it won't work this way. So even in how we treat drug addicts, there is something called the gradual withdrawal technique. When they take an addict to the rehab center, they don't just stop giving him drugs. No, they actually give him or her drugs, but with smaller doses until they recover. And they get rid of their dependence. So what we need to do is figure out, how did you come to guidance? How did you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What made you start praying? Why did you start reading the Quran and so on? So these means and these factors, we can utilize them to give da'wah to your own children gradually. Basically, family members are more worthy than anybody else to observe the changes to the better in your behavior, in your personality, in your kindness. So when they observe that you have become better, they say, yeah, that is better. This is a better choice. One girl, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided her, and she decided to wear hijab, but her parents were not good at all. So when I paid them a visit and so on, the father kept admiring his daughter. He has more than one daughter. He said, she's the best of all my children. Why? She's practicing. She's become much more dutiful to us. Even though I know that we're bad away from Allah, but she's very good and she's good to us. And I believe that Allah is blessing us because of her. So the positive change is number one means of da'wah. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Musad from the KSA.
Alaikum salam.
Brother Musad, go ahead.
Okay, I have a question. Why is the mom more beloved than the father, and what is the reason to say that?
I didn't get the question, I'm sorry, your voice is breaking off.
Why is the mom more beloved than the father, and what is the reason to say that?
One more time for me, please.
Why is the mom more beloved than the father, and what is the reason to say that is right?
I'm sorry, inshallah, we'll try to collect your question from the control if they got it, because I couldn't hear it clearly. Your voice was breaking off. Thank you. If you got the question, let me know, please. Okay. Brother Hashir from Bahrain, that whoever says that Qiyamul Layl in Ramadan is not from the Sunnah and so on. And Al-Imam Bukhari collected some hadith with regards to the night prayer for the Prophet ﷺ, such as the hadith which is narrated by Aisha radiallahu anha and Al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah and others, that the Prophet ﷺ, whenever the last 10 nights of Ramadan would enter, إذا دخل العشر الأخير, the Prophet ﷺ would do the following: شد مئزره وأيقظ أهله وأحيا ليله, which we explained before, that the Prophet ﷺ would fasten his waist belt, and this is, we said, it's a metaphor, an announcement to a very hard work, and he's not going to touch his wives during this time because he would be in i'tikaf. أيقظ أهله, awaken his family for the whole night. وأحيا ليلة, the whole night he will spend it in ibadah. The type of prayer of the Prophet ﷺ have been explained in the hadith of Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman. He used to recite very long recitation. So when Aisha said that he used to pray in Ramadan or outside Ramadan, 11 rak'ahs altogether, or 13 rak'ahs as in some hadith, then with this long recitation and long ruku' and long sujood, it would occupy the whole time, of course. So am I allowed to break it down to pray sometime earlier and sometime after I get up from sleep, or after I take a nap, or before suhoor and after suhoor? You're free. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمِنَ اللَّيْلِ فَتَهَجَّدَ بِهِ نَافِلَةً لَكَ عَسَىٰ أَن يَبْعَثَكَ رَبُّكَ مَقَامًا مَحْمُودًا. وَمِنَ اللَّيْلِ, and a part of the night, تَهَجَّد بِهِ, recite the Quran in tahajjud. نَافِلَةً, so this is voluntary. Any part of the night, the earlier, the middle, and the last is the better. The last 10 nights of Ramadan, the Prophet ﷺ used not to sleep. He would do it all in worship, to take a break, to eat suhoor, to do whatever is necessary, but the whole time will be awake and doing his ibadah. Surah Al-Muzammil, إِنَّ رَبَّكَ يَعْلَمُ أَنَّكَ تَقُومُ أَدْنَى مِنْ ثُلُثَيِ اللَّيْلِ وَنِصْفَهُ وَثُلُثَهُ, which means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that you already pray less than 2/3 of the night, or 1/2 of the night, or 1/3 of the night. And in the last part of Ramadan, as we talked, that the Prophet ﷺ used to spend the whole night in ibadah. So whether you want to pray it in jama'ah, pray it individually, that is prescribed during Ramadan. Now, Brother Mus'ad's question is, why should we love our mothers more than the fathers? Number one, this is not true, that we love both equally. But I want you to look at it this way. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حُسْنًا. Every command of Allah was the parents. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Both parents. Then He spoke about the mother. حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ وَهْنًا عَلَى وَهْنٍ وَفِصَالُهُ فِي عَامَيْنِ. He spoke about the suffering of the mother in bearing the child, in breastfeeding the child, in the labor pain and all of that. And when a Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked, who have more rights upon me, who have rights upon me most, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, your mother, your mother, your mother, and fourthly he said, your father. Look at one thing, which is, independence as the parents grow up. Mainly the mothers, like a housewife, she doesn't have her own position or salary or a living place to support herself, while the father or the man has. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to be very careful with the mother, especially not to make them in need for anything, especially whenever they get old. إِمَّا يَبْلُغَنَّ عِنْدَكَ الْكِبَرَ أَحَدُهُمَا أَوْ كِلَاهُمَا فَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ وَلَا تَنْهَرْهُمَا وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. Whenever any of them reach an old age or senility, أَحَدُهُمَا, if any of them only is living, أَوْ كِلَاهُمَا, or both. So there is no distinction. But paying extra attention to the mothers because they are more in need than the father at this particular time. But both helping them, serving them, are means of success. The Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, الوالد أوسط أبواب الجنة. الوالد أوسط أبواب الجنة. The middle gate of paradise is through being kind and dutiful to your father. This is very important to keep in mind. Sister Huda, with regards to al-istikhara prayer, I have posted all the details of al-istikhara on my page. They are Muhammad Salah official, as how to pray istikhara, what is the dua and when to say it, and all of that. Then I also posted a whole episode which I explain in details all the ahkam relating to al-istikhara and what you should expect and what will happen as a result of istikhara, and whether it is permissible to pray istikhara more than once, or if you're making a choice from several choices. Now, your particular question is somebody proposed to you to marry you. So what should you do? Pray 2 rak'ahs, nafila, any nafila, or you can begin 2 rak'ahs with the intention of al-istikhara. So if you pray a general nawafil, or if you pray a sunnah before or after the prayer, that is valid, but with an intention that you're going to pray or recite the dua of al-istikhara afterward. After you offer the 2 units, the 2 rak'ahs, sit facing the qibla, then send the peace and the blessings upon the Prophet ﷺ after praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then recite the dua which you will find it on my page. Allahumma inni astakhiruka bi'ilmika wa astaqdiruka biqudratik. The dua for the sake of time. I posted it in Arabic, in English, and also with the translation. So if you don't know Arabic, you can say it, you can read it from the paper, inshallah, in Latin letters. And you just add the subject of your choices. Oh Allah, if you know this gentleman or this guy is good for me as a husband, with regards to my worldly affairs and the hereafter, like a good husband in this life, and he will help me to be saved in the hereafter, then make it easy for me and facilitate this process for me. If you know that the opposite is true, then distance him from me and distance me from him, and decide for me or choose for me what is best for me. This is the dua of al-istikhara. What would happen afterward? Whatever happens, happens. Whatever happens, if you were very undecided and very fair when you consulted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the prayer, then the outcome will be Allah's choice, even if it is against your hawa, your desire, or your tendency, because now you consulted Allah, and Allah will give you the right choice. It is also worth of mentioning here that along with the istikhara, you should consult people of experience, elders, friends, those whom you really trust in this regard to help you out to make your final decision. Brothers and sisters, we've just come to the end of this edition of Ask Huda, and until next time I leave you in the care of Allah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاكم الله خيرا.
Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.